All right, so it's time for the year-end review. Now we're going to look at some stuff in general in terms of my pictures of models. You guys. Yeah, so we've got some various models here right at the start of the year 2023, and remember that so at the start of 2023 we're kind of just getting off of the gunpla ball drop 2023 where I did the big ball, and everyone else, Carmi, Eddie, Night Trap, a number of folks took part in the ball drop. And to me, that was a pretty big project. I hadn't done anything quite like that. So I was looking to do some smaller projects at the start of the year. So that's why we have things like the Sazabi, the SD Sazabi, and the Gundam Artifact Zaku 3. And then the three pictures that you see at the bottom there, that's Lauda's Delanza and Choo Choo's Demi Trainer, which I picked up on Boxing Day. I think I got them on Boxing Day or at the start of the year of 2023. And those were all things that I felt like it was kind of easy to get back into at the start of the year. And it's kind of interesting, especially with Choo Choo's Demi Trainer. That was a kit that I built at the beginning of this year, and here now at the end of the year, we are finishing it. I'm finishing it. I finished it. Uh, oh yeah, you're going to the Gundam base. Exactly. Yes, I totally understand, Carmi. I'm very excited for you for that. 16. My resolution worked out pretty well. 5 retail kits. That's dope, and only a few P Bandai drops. That's dope. And yeah, so again, we're kind of looking at all the models that I built this year. This is the built and painted. This is an example. This is the first model that I fully finished in 2023. It's the tiny little Gundam artifact, the Zaku 3 artifact scale model, which is tiny. It looks like a Warhammer size model. I thought that this would be a great way to kind of start and get back to painting, and it would be easy, but I actually ended up spending a fair amount of time on this. Maybe not the same amount of time as a full, even in HG, but longer than I anticipated, despite how small it was, just because it's a very tricky kind of model to get all the angles on. And also I didn't really decide on a color scheme. I was kind of just experimenting, do you know what I mean? Rather than going in with a plan. But yeah, I made a base. Right. And this was a birthday gift from my brother. The Crossbone Gundam Master Grade Crossbone. I really like this model, although the cape is not my favorite part of it. And I'm thinking I want to resolve a unique way of finishing the cape. Also, I started to finally paint this Machining Krieger Mark 44 Ammo Knight. It's something that I bought in 2022 and built mostly in 2022, but this year I started to paint it, and I absolutely loved the experience of painting this thing. It's all done now, but yeah, that's the start, and a lot of sponge painting for this model. Oh, here's an example of a pilot model, although this is 1 in 20th scale. This is a 1 in 20th scale pilot, so not quite like Gundam stuff. I've never painted anything like this, and I actually really love the experience of painting larger scale humanoid figures, and that's something I'd like to do more of, TBH. So here's, this is probably the start of like my first big project of 20, looks fantastic, thanks, Destruct. This is the first example of a big project for 2023. Again, for the start of the year, that first month, I was looking to do smaller projects. And Joe, everyone knows Joe R. Inferno, shout out to Joe, invited me to be a judge for his G Gundam kit bashing competition. And I was initially planning on participating, but he asked me to be a judge, so I was like, okay, I'll be a judge, but I still want to do something. And the concept of that competition was to take one of the no-scale really small, very inexpensive Gundam, G Gundam kits and transform it in some way to modernize it. And what you're seeing right here, guys, is actually one of the first original Gundam model kits that I had gotten as a child, as a kid. And I've had it for all these years, and it got busted up. Like, as you can see, there's like a bit of the front skirt on the right side is like broken off. Stickers are flaking off. It's busted. And I was like, this is... I have this thing in my closet. I got to do something with it. This is the perfect time to do something with it. So yeah, this became the first big project of 2023. Somewhere in between, we had my birthday. No, this is actually Valentine's Day, and we had a fun Valentine's Day where folks could actually redeem a candy and gift me a candy. A chocolate. It doesn't mean anything, Baka. And that was actually really fun. Oh, yeah. And there's the Uncrustables. That's the other major story arc of 2023 was Diamond is Uncrustable. The beautiful weather of Virginia in February. Started working on the Moon Gundam. This is actually my favorite model to date. I haven't finished it in terms of painting, but I loved my experience of building and working on the Moon Gundam, and as I said, it's my favorite model across all grades. And I want to do something special with it. Not really sure what I want to do yet. And yeah, so you guys, let's go back a bit. See this? Keep this in mind. This is actually this. So for Joe's kit bashing competition, I turned it into this Dragon Gundam Dragon. I call it the Dragon Gundam Dragon. And you can see that elements of it are still maintained. The head is one of the hands, but I added extra parts from 30-minute missions. This is the back fin of the head of the Gundam, which became the head of the dragon. 30-minute missions and plot plates. The neck is made out of parts of the arm, and then the body here is made out of parts of the leg. And this is like the shoulder armor here, as well as the hip or back armor. Some plot plates for the tongue, 30-minute missions for the tail, built the base and everything. And so yeah, very, very happy with how that turned out, and it kind of signified the pace of the year for the rest of the year, that this was going to be like the standard in so many words. Like every major project that I do is going to have to be about as good as that, at least for my own personal standards, I guess. And yeah, this model here, it kind of meant a lot to me because it kind of represented coming full circle, you know, like building this kit as a kid and then having it shoved in a closet for years and years and years, reviving it and turning it into something else, thanks to Joe's like contest and inviting me to be a judge. It just sort of represented going full circle and being a part of a community, because I think that's a huge thing too, is like when you're a part of a hobby, when you take part in hobbies, yes, you can do all these things and build it by yourself, but the thing that makes it really fun is being a part of a community. And I think that making this model represented to me a kind of gratitude to the hobby and to the community for accepting me, I guess. Bacon, imagine the judge flexing on all the contestants. Yeah, here's some other example close-up shots. I made I handmade that, the torii gates, the stairway, all of the rocky stuff, the trees. This Torii gate I actually made like 2 or 3 different times because I wasn't happy with the shape of it. And it's all just toothpicks. And there's the sketch. So here's I do this a lot, but like I make really really simple basic ass sketches of my models and my plans, and that's an example of of going from here to here. This is the VFG Girl Rank Elite kit, which I started this year. I can't remember how many runners, but it's easily like the most runners that I've ever had to deal with in a single model kit. That being said, it is kind of like 2 kits in one, or more than that, considering that the the Valkyrie transforms in 3 different ways, and then it can become armor for the Musume part, right, for rank elite. But yeah, this was the start of a big project, and honestly, I haven't even, it's finished, but I didn't put the stickers on it. Oh yeah, there's some pictures of the Clawing Kitty. I picked up the Banshee Norn at in the States, and I finally finished it. While I was in Toronto, we visited Argama Hobby, and Bacon was there. And I picked up the Lapita robot. And right here you can see the God Gundam, which is a gift from Bacon. Very nice of him. But this became kind of like the major project of the year. If the Dragon Gundam was sort of like the start, and in terms of setting the tone, this would become like the big major project of the year. There's Ariel, built the Ariel project of the year. And yeah, so around the same time as working on the Lapita robot, I actually started to scribe. I built the ST Sazabi, and I thought that that would be a great project to kind of practice scribing and plot plating. So here's an example of my initial foray into scribing and plot plating, and I'm pretty happy with it. All this stuff that you see here is details on the back side. I started on the back side because I figured if I messed it up, no one would really see it. But it kind of turned out that I really liked all the detail that I did on the back side, and now no one can really see it, especially when you put the backpack on and everything. It's just not something that anyone really notices. And I'm still getting used to scribing and plot plating. I need to get better. Painted some fantasy miniatures. These are from D&D, the Haragon Rogues. Honestly, I would have liked to do more Warhammer stuff, more miniature painting in 2023. It didn't work out that way. But next year, again, we'll try and do some more Warhammer and miniature stuff. Because it's a little easier for me. I'm a bit more used to it. And of course, they're very small. They're very small, so you can kind of get that stuff done a whole lot easier compared to a big, massive, even something like a high grade is kind of like a big job relative to something like this. Those 2 products that you see here, there's AK Interactive's Moss Texture for Diorama, which is effectively finely minced sponge. And then this is Dirty Down paint. Shout to Dirty Down. And Goblin's Hut, the Dirty Down Moss paint. And this is actually a combination of Lord of the Rings and Warhammer terrain that I had painted previously, but now I was adding the moss effects, and I thought that this would be a great place to kind of experiment using this stuff, because this would become kind of like a core component of the Lapita diorama. And that's what I try and do with my projects, is kind of like one thing leads to another. One thing is like the practice stage, and then the next stage is like, you know, where I try and do it even better, right? And so I was quite happy with the results of this, the moss experiments, and then carried it forward to the Lapita. And yeah, there's an example of the hand without the moss stuff. there's an example of the robot's hand, and this is a lot of sponge painting, a lot of the birth of Bob Moss. Here, let's do it, guys. It's a freebie on me. You don't have to redeem it. Let's do it. There it is, Bob Moss evolution. Jim Sniper, finish this up.
Focus on! Yes!
Focus on! Focus on! Got that Jim Sniper again. So a number of kits I would build and then just kind of leave it at that for another time to decide what I want to do for painting and all that. So that's an example of that. Bulbasaur, another fairly easy model. For this stretch of time, I kind of worked on a number of models just to kind of build and not paint, in addition to working on the Laputa project, which is sort of like the big primary project, you know? There's the VFG, the Valkyrie itself. And I remember there was a number of people talked about having difficulty with the back part here, with the legs and the thrusters. I got it to work. Also, the G Gundam started that. Again, I'm just kind of building a lot of different things just to kind of vary up, create some variation in my streams, because I was also constantly painting the Laputa stuff. And again, as I mentioned, I like to kind of do an experimental phase and then bring that into the final model. This is sort of like an experiment in creating this this sort of stone texture, right, which is actually just made out of foam core. And I used a pen to engrave the bricks, and then I would scatter the moss texture stuff on top. And we're getting more into the progress of the diorama itself. Let's get some new music, guys. Looks really good. Bet we could install it on our building projects. Yeah, and so all the tree stuff is made from a number of twigs and stuff, kind of glued together to create this look of like one big tree. And then we've got some stone there, and then I painted the backdrop. All of this is over the course of several months. This is not a couple days. This isn't a week project. This isn't a month-long project. This was actually about 5 months worth of work, working intermittently between other projects, like building other stuff, to get to a point where I was really happy with the result. And again, as I said, building other stuff. This is the Alfrith. Love this model. It's one of my favorites. I know Carmi's a big fan of it. Joe, Jose. Everyone loves the Alfrith. I love it. So cool. And I want to do something special with it. I just don't know what. I built this on Independence Day. America Gundam. And yeah, this is getting close to finished with the machining Krieger model. No weathering though. I don't think I did the weathering. That's right. Yep. America. And yeah, I picked up this rust, stain, and streaking painting set from Hobby Center's outdoor yard sale type thing. And I really like it. It's a really great set. And I kind of want to get more of these kind of painting kits. This one here came with instructions in terms of how to use it. And I thought it was really well done. I wouldn't mind getting more of this stuff. Because I was very surprised at how nicely it was planned out. And very easy to get good results. Bacon, I forgot about that thing. Yeah. Got myself one of my white whales, you know, something that I've been looking to get for a very long time. Finally managed to get the Turn A Master Grade Gundam. We had to go pretty far out to the very edges of Ottawa, damn near close to Quebec, actually, like on the border of Ottawa and Quebec to get it, but very happy to obtain that. Some models, Neverlia. This is sort of one of those key builds, I guess. This became a big project. I bought this again in the summer with the idea in mind that eventually I'd come up with a good idea for Halloween. This would be my Halloween build. Hunter's Poem Swallow. I started this. This is a kit from a company that I haven't really had up until that point. I hadn't built anything from this company, and it was very different from something like a Kodo kit, for something like a Bandai kit. Honestly, I had some difficulty, to be honest, but the end result is very nice. And again, just another kit that I will figure out something to do with at a later date, because it is all finished. It's not finished in this picture. But then again, as I said, I'm kind of trying to be more accepting of just finishing a model and letting it be, rather than making each thing like a whole big production. Do you know what I mean? And speaking of Warhammer, I did a lot of stripping of models, taking the paint off of them. Some of these are pretty legendary models. Some of these models are probably older than you guys, probably older than me, to be honest. And some of them are pretty legendary. This is Teclis from Warhammer. Yeah, some awesome stuff here. And the order of these pictures isn't 100% properly organized, but this is the awards from Otakuthon 2023 in Montreal. That happened in August. That was a whole affair, a whole big deal. Another big story arc for the Ippo Dempsey Roll show was getting ready for Otakuthon Montreal. They kind of announced the exact details of the Plamo competition with only 2 weeks left for the actual day. So shout out to my brother and my mom that helped me out to get out there and make it like a good experience, and get all of that stuff organized. But yeah, we walked away with some hardware. We walked away with these are 2 first place plaques. And I also got a second placing, as well as like I won a draw or something like that. Got a lot of prizes. I don't think I have a photo of like the prizes that I had won, but it was a lot. Like, I did calculate how much all of that stuff was worth, and it was like short of $1,000. It wasn't quite $1,000, but it was like almost that much money in terms of prizes, which is kind of crazy. Right after Otakuthon Montreal, I wanted to hit the ground running. Still wanted to, kind of keep the momentum of building, not taking too much of a break. However, I wanted to do something a little easier, so that was Lauda's de Lanza. I built Lauda's de Lanza at the start of this year, as I showed previously, but my thinking was, how about we kind of think about a way to paint this quickly compared to my normal stuff of like hand painting. This one is all, or at least primarily, spray painted, and I used like the masking designs of like the drippy stuff, which is pretty cool. And I'm not too experienced with spraying a model in terms of like that would be the final finish. You know what I mean? Like, I'm used to spraying models with spray paint for the purposes of priming, but it's a different kind of mentality if you want to spray it with the intention of that being like the final finish on the surface. And I made some mistakes with this, and I definitely was trying to do it quickly, but overall I was quite happy with the model. Archa, whoop whoop, congrats on the dubs. Yeah, thanks so much. And that's the other thing too, I want to say is just thanks to everyone who, kind of supported me throughout this whole time of building the Lapita robot. We will have pictures of the Lapita robot eventually in the slides. And also shout out to the gunpla sisters that were actually there and cheering me on. That was really fun. But yeah, thanks everyone for all the well wishes and the outpouring of congratulatory comments and stuff. That was very nice on Instagram and all of that. Oh yeah, and so there's the Lapita robot. Actually, it's currently on display at Trinity Hobby. And it's kind of funny, a handful of times I will see someone on Instagram or on Discord post pictures of this. They'll be like, "Oh, I went to Trinity and I saw this kit. Like I saw this really neat build." And I'd be like, "Oh, hey, yeah, that's me. Cool. Thanks." There's an example of the masking done for Loud as the Lancet. I need to think of a new use case for this stuff because I do have more of it. I don't really know what else I want to do with it at the moment. I'll have to think of something. And there's the Turn A Gundam, a lovely model of one of my favorite building experiences of 2023, I have to say, in terms of the final finish and the design. And again, this is something that I want to do something special with. I just don't really have a good idea in mind. I might have to actually watch Turn A to actually generate better ideas. You can see that the Sazabi is there in the background. Got myself another Machining Krieger kit. Love those. Looking forward to building that. County Fair. Mustachio Gundam, yeah. Went to the county fair, saw some cool animals like this little cute little ducky. Yeah, and then there's work on the SD Sazabi. This would go on to become my GBWC 2023 entry. And again, this is something that I had bought at the start of the year with the intention of it being something easy, something to kind of mess around with and experiment doing new techniques with. And again, coming after Otakuthon Montreal, feeling a little burnt out. Not too long after that, the GBWC publicized their information regarding entering the GBWC. And if you're someone like me that wasn't really thinking about it all that much, you're kind of like put in a rough spot because you've got, 2 weeks or so, maybe a month? Yeah, like a month and a half to work on this kit that you intend to submit. Most people take an entire year or more to do their entry, but actually it was Than over at Trinity Hobby, shout out to Trinity. He was like, listen, you might as well just enter something and get a badge. And Arch is right, the badge winner kit, the participation trophy. So yeah, here I am hand painting it, doing several thin layers. That's the thing that I kind of wanted to do as well, was kind of work in really thin layers and bring it up to a really nice finish. And I was actually quite happy with the kind of saturation and the brightness and the smoothness. This is an example of several layers of red paint, as well as like doing the shading and the shadows and everything. Very happy with how this came out. As you can see, there's the difference in the brilliance, the brightness of and saturation of the red. After several layers, you kind of get to a point like that. And yeah, very happy with how that turned out. Built my first Zoid kit. This is actually one of the award prizes that I had gotten from Otakuthon Montreal. I've never built a Zoid before, and I actually really ended up loving the experience. Might have to build more Zoids. They're pretty pricey though. That's the thing. New hobby. You got 2 more Pokemon kits, Arch? What'd you get? That's hype. Let's go. Arch is in. Yeah, so I don't really talk about it too much, but I've been making terrariums, and I'm actually looking at them right now, like IRL. I've got them here on my hobby desk. I thought that it might be a nice thing to have, especially in the winter when everything is all dead and white. I could look at a bunch of green moss, and yeah, it's very nice. And yeah, here's the finished shot of the Sazabi. That I did a little bit of weathering, but not too much. In hindsight, I would have liked to have done water slides, but I was like, meh. And here's the start of my Halloween build. This is the weapon, the scythe, built from scratch from a number of different pieces. And I'm not all that used to doing kit bashing, but this is an example of where I'm at in terms of kit bashing, and I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I've also wanted to do more sculpting this year, and this was probably the most elaborate thing that I sculpted, was 4 pumpkins. But I'm actually pretty happy with how they turned out. It's a combination of sculpting it from the green stuff, but then also letting it dry and then sanding it down after. When it becomes hard, you can kind of sand it down. It isn't green stuff, it's milliput. And then actually making shapes and then cutting into the shapes after they're dry. So it's like a combination of both sculpting and kind of cutting and carving. That's where I'm at with that. And I'm pretty happy with them, all things considered. And yeah, so this was getting into October now. The previous year I did a Halloween build, and I think that's going to be a tradition for me. I did another Halloween build this time with Neverlia, kind of mixing up this feeling of like Halloween plus Morrigan, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. I love the hair, the green of the hair. I don't think I have a picture of the base, unfortunately. There's the weapon, but yeah, overall, very happy with how this turned out. Oh yeah, and then the other thing that I kind of kept in my back pocket was that it was like a combination piece that combined with the previous year's Halloween piece, and I just really love how that turned out. I'm very happy with how that turned out. And then yeah, so 2024 Halloween, maybe we'll have to add another piece to this scene here. Another build. This is a frame arms model, which I then took apart and used pieces of for my gunpla ball drop build. If you look right here, this arm here is now part of the Choo Choo's Demi Trainer, as well as smaller details like this plating on the knee and some other places. I basically just scavenged this guy and turned it into other things, and I'm going to take it apart more and use it for more things, because I like this build, but it was one of those items that I had picked up fairly cheaply, and it was like I felt okay about chopping it up. And hey, here's a nice little gift from Carmi, as a matter of fact, from my throne page. And there was a whole ordeal about getting this finally, because I had no idea when it was coming, and it turned out I had to actually buy it in a weird way. But yeah, thank you so much, Carmi, once again. Love this kit. And yeah, so this is coming on to November, I think. This is like my November 1-week build. I kind of set out a challenge for myself. Again, having spent as much time as it took to do any kind of build, whether it be the Lapita robot or the Gundam artifact or the Halloween build, my feeling was, how about I just do something quickly? And the Bulbasaur was a great subject matter to kind of paint quickly in 1 week and have it all done, including the base, and I did it. I was actually very kind of proud of myself that I was able to do that. And this is one of my favorite photographs too. Like, that's a whole other aspect of the hobby that I'm kind of trying to get better at. And yeah, love the photo here. Bulbasaur, love this one. Yeah! The Aegis Master Grade Gundam. This is actually another prize from Otakuthon Montreal. Very interesting build because it transforms. It's somewhat older. I think it's probably maybe even 10 years old or something. So it's been a different and challenging build for me, at least, and it's still not done yet. And yeah, so the Sazabi ended up getting onto the Gundam website, the official website for the GBWC on Canada. Tough Little Sazabi is the name I ended up calling it. I had no idea this was going to be up on the website. I didn't even think to check because it had been like several weeks at that point, but Joe informed me like early in the morning one time, like maybe in November or something. He's like, "Is this you, Ipo? You're on the website." I was like, "Oh shit." So yeah, I made it past the first selection for the GBWC, and that was a very, what do I want to say? Like a very satisfying thing. It felt really cool. It felt good because it meant that I was, at least in some way, shape, or form, on the right track. And I'm very enthusiastic about next year, kind of getting into it again, I guess. And here's a look at some of the models that I have on display. So my display case, I only put up models that are done in terms of like finished build and painted and all of that. Not not the stuff that I just snap built. And yeah, I love the colors here. It's really, really neat. Look at them models. That's the ball drop from last year. Bulbasaur, the 2 Halloween models, and the Summer Vibes Delanza. The Halloween and Bulbasaur look so good. Thank you, Arch. Here's a bunch of snacks from the Philippines. My family, my brother and my mom went to the Philippines for like practically the entire month of October. And when they came back with so many snacks. As a matter of fact, we're still possibly trying to finish all of those snacks. A lot, including enrobed chocolate, dark chocolate enrobed mangoes. We still have some of those. And I'll be sad when they're all gone because I do not see those. I have not seen them in Canada. Damn, making me hungry. A lot. Like chicha corn, kind of like chicharron prepared corn nuts. Those are really good. Top tier stuff. Some good snacks, guys. Oh yeah, and we got some cool stickers from some pals. Not pictured here is Kawaii Builds. Kawaii Builds actually sent me some stickers earlier in the year, and thank you so much for that, Kawaii. They're actually, I have some of them on display on my on my coaster that you guys might see from time to time on stream. But yeah, these are from Old Type. Thank you so much, Old Type. Very cool of you. And that's another thing that I want to get done next year is making my own stickers, sending them out to all you guys. And while we're on the topic of sending and receiving stuff in the mail, this happened fairly recently. Goblin's Hut sent me the range of Dirty Down effects paint, verdigris, moss, and rust after watching my YouTube video, and very kindly offering to send me a replacement bottle of the moss for the challenges that I had in using it. And I was kind of like, that is totally cool, but you don't have to, because I actually like using it, and I thought if I made any mistakes using it, that's on me. But they were kind enough to send all 3 of these, and they're not cheap. Like each individual one is kind of pricey, especially in Canadian. So I'm very, very happy to have received that, and I'm planning on using them, making good use of them. So we gotta do something cool with this stuff, right, guys? And speaking of completed builds that achieve a placement in Valhalla, here is the Sazabi in my display case with the pin. I received the pin. They better piss off Bob Moss. No, they were just really nice. Very, very, very happy to have received that. Yeah, really happy how that all looks together. The pin and getting that in the mail was really thrilling too. And it's just a very satisfying thing to see and to look on. I get it that it's a pin at the end of the day, effectively a participation badge, But I encourage all of you, like Bacon and Carmi and Eddie, anyone that's been building gunpla, to try and submit and get your badge, because you can do it. I honestly believe all of you guys can do it for sure. And then we're on to Christmas. I just showed off some of the stuff that I got on Christmas, including the DJ, the Transient Gundam, and Shin Godzilla, which I watched recently. I'd seen it when it came out in theaters, but it's a fantastic movie. Very different than Minus One, but equally powerful in my estimation. I think it's trying to say something important, and I think they do a really good job. Oh yeah, and then here we are at the Gunpla Ball Drop 2024. This here is actually a 3D image that rotates and everything by none other than friend of the channel, Mecha Girl Vanilla. Shout out to Vanilla. Gunpla. uh, and this could be the last slide. I'm not sure, but this is where we're at. You know, it's close to the end of the year. Last year we had a great time with the Gunpla Ball Drop. I love seeing all the creativity that all of you guys did, and this year, of course, Vanilla has always hung out and super cool person here in the channel. So I wanted her, if she wanted to do something for this event, and she used her tremendous talents to do this cool 3D image, and Gunpla. So that is the 2023 year-end review, guys.